Badlands this summer should be aware of the critters that they encounter there after a warning from the National Park Service. Our Andrea Anderson standing by at the First Alert Safety Desk with more.
The National Park Service has confirmed that plague has caused a prairie dog die-off in Badlands National Park, Buffalo Gap National Grassland, and the Greater Badlands ecosystem. Plague is a non-native bacterial disease that occurs in rodents and their fleas. The National Park Service says the risk to humans remains low. However, plague is still concerning. Humans can be infected through contact with infected rodents, including carcasses, or by breathing infectious particles from an infected animal, a sick pet, or another sick human. South Dakota has never reported a human plague case, although cases in rodents, such as prairie dogs, were first reported in 2005. We have more information as well as tips on how to stay vigilant right now at dakotanewsnow.com/safety desk. At the First Alert Safety Desk, Andrea Anderson, Dakota News Now.